Tibetan culture is deeply intertwined with spiritualism, and Tibetan lamas are regarded as spiritual teachers and guides. Some are even believed to be incarnations of revered Buddhas or great masters from past lives. This belief is rooted in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, which emphasizes the concept of tulkus, reincarnated lamas who continue the spiritual work of their previous incarnations. One such tulku could be a young master, recognized as the reincarnation of a previous lama, destined to lead others and share teachings that transcend lifetimes. Today, we'd like to share a story of a Tibetan Rinpoche's vision about the big changes to come in April 2025. This vision, tied to prophecies for that time, hints at events that could not only affect Tibet, but the world as a whole. If these prophecies hold true, they suggest significant developments may be on the horizon. Could these prophecies offer insight into what's to come? As we approach April 2025, it's worth looking into these visions and seeing if they align with the events we're witnessing now. Let's share this prophecy so we can observe it together to see if it'll come true. But before we begin the story, there are some terms and concepts that are unique to Tibetan Buddhism that we need to understand in order to better understand the story. The term Rinpoche. In Tibetan Buddhism, Rinpoche is a title meaning precious one. It is given to high lamas, spiritual teachers, and tulkus, reincarnated lamas believed to be the incarnations of past masters or enlightened beings. The title is a sign of deep respect and recognition of the lama's wisdom, compassion, and spiritual authority. The concept of tulkus is central to Tibetan Buddhist culture. When a high lama or important teacher passes away, the search for their reincarnation begins. This process is guided by spiritual signs, visions, and divine guidance, often involving a group of senior monks or lamas. Once the reincarnation is identified, the child is recognized as the next Rinpoche, the living embodiment of the previous teacher's spiritual wisdom. Being recognized as a Rinpoche is not only a title, it comes with immense responsibility. A young Rinpoche typically undergoes years of rigorous training in Buddhist philosophy, meditation, rituals, and leadership. As they grow, they are groomed to lead their community, preserve sacred teachings, and guide others toward enlightenment. Kangso Rinpoche is a highly respected figure in Tibetan Buddhism, belonging to the Kagyu tradition. He is the incarnation of the previous Kangso Rinpoche, a lama renowned for his spiritual wisdom and teachings. The current incarnation, the 11th Kangso Rinpoche, was recognized as a young child and began his path as a tulku following the Tibetan Buddhist tradition of recognizing reincarnated lamas. Like other Rinpoches, the young Kangso Rinpoche was identified through signs, visions, and tests that confirmed his identity as the reincarnation of the previous Kangso Rinpoche. These tests often involve a child demonstrating extraordinary wisdom or recognizing objects belonging to the previous incarnation. This process is crucial for verifying that the child is indeed the correct incarnation. Once recognized, Kangso Rinpoche underwent rigorous spiritual training under the guidance of senior lamas and teachers. He studied Buddhist scriptures, meditation, and ritual practices, preparing him to take on the role of a spiritual leader within his community. As the 11th Kangso Rinpoche matures, he is expected to continue the teachings and responsibilities of his predecessor, guiding his followers and preserving the sacred traditions of the Kagyu school. The story of Kangso Rinpoche is a reflection of the deeply rooted Tibetan Buddhist belief in reincarnation and the continuous cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Through the reincarnation system, The teachings and wisdom of great masters are passed down, ensuring that their impact continues for future generations. Kangso Rinpoche, like other Rinpoches, plays an important role in leading his community, offering spiritual guidance and fostering the practice of Tibetan Buddhism in the modern world. With these concepts understood, let's begin the story. In Tibet, an astonishing prophecy regarding 2025 is stirring global attention. At the Yokang Temple in Lhasa, a 7-year-old Rinpoche named Kangso Rinpoche entered a deep state of meditation while reciting mantras early one morning. During this time, he revealed an important prophecy related to the year 2025. Known as the Tibetan child prodigy, this young Lama has demonstrated extraordinary wisdom since birth. Earlier in 2023, he accurately predicted a massive snowstorm in the nearby region, issuing a warning 3 days in advance, allowing local herders to move tens of thousands of livestock to safety. That same year, he also predicted 3 major climate events. In early 2024, he foresaw extreme fluctuations in the global food market, a prophecy that was confirmed just 2 months later. A research team systematically analyzed 82 of his predictions over the past 3 years, finding a remarkable accuracy rate of over 95%. This astonishing number has drawn worldwide attention to this gifted young Lama. But this time, during his meditation, what he saw was far more significant. Born on the 15th of the first month in the Tibetan lunar year, Kangso Rinpoche hails from a humble family of herders in eastern Tibet. Legend has it that on the day of his birth, the cloud turned into rainbow color, and within it, a golden lotus flower was faintly visible. Local lamas viewed this as a rare omen, signaling the arrival of an incarnation of Padmasambhava, Lotus Guru. An elderly Khenpo, senior lama, recalls, "I was meditating that day when suddenly I saw a lotus cushion in the sky with a radiant child seated upon it. This auspicious vision lasted for 7 days and nights." From a young age, Kangso Rinpoche exhibited remarkable spiritual abilities. In the temple, he could see the wisdom light above every Buddha statue's head and accurately describe the colors and shapes of these lights. The senior monks would often ask him about the Buddha statues, and he would respond with remarkable precision. Today, the wisdom light of Manjushri Bodhisattva is particularly bright, golden in color, which means it's an auspicious day for seeking knowledge. Once, while playing in the grass, young Kangso Rinpoche suddenly entered meditation. Local herders, witnessing this, hurried to summon the temple's senior lama. When he emerged from meditation, he tearfully said, "In meditation, I saw Guru Rinpoche, Padmasambhava, sitting on a lion throne, teaching me profound secret teachings." He then recited a hidden scripture that had never been heard before. Later, this scripture was discovered in an ancient Tibetan scripture cave, word for word intact. Upon hearing this, the elderly Khenpo remarked, "This is no ordinary child. He is clearly the incarnation of Guru Rinpoche himself." Kangso Rinpoche often recalls past lives during meditation. On one occasion, an elderly lama visited him, and Kangso Rinpoche said, "Do you remember the ceremony at Rangchen Monastery 50 years ago? You were seated in the 3rd row in front of the statue of Guru Rinpoche, and I presented the talk of the longevity empowerment." The elderly lama, moved to tears, confirmed that only he and his deceased teacher knew of this event. On another occasion, during a snowstorm, a lost merchant came to Kangso Rinpoche's tent. The young lama said to him, "Do not worry, the letter under your saddle is safe. It concerns the appointment of the new abbot of Chub Monastery. 3 days from now, Jaba Rinpoche from Baking Monastery will send someone to retrieve it." The merchant was astounded. "How did you know this confidential matter?" Kangso Rinpoche smiled and replied, "Everything manifests in the wisdom light of Guru Rinpoche." Word of this event spread to Lhasa, where it caught the attention of Zashi Rinpoche, a prominent Lama of the Lama school. Upon visiting Kangso Rinpoche, Zashi Rinpoche was struck by the sight of the young Lama seated on a Dharma throne, surrounded by a seven-colored aura. He immediately prostrated and said, "Truly, you are the incarnation of Guru Rinpoche. The golden color on your forehead and the Tathagata wisdom seal on your brow are unmistakable signs of one who has realized the great perfection." Kangso Rinpoche replied, "Master, there is no need for such formalities. We made an agreement in our past life on the copper-colored hill. You told me we would meet again on this snowy plateau." At a ceremony where several manuscripts containing secret teachings were presented, Kangso Rinpoche effortlessly identified the true document, describing it in detail and cracking the code inscribed in heavenly language, proving his connection to his past lives and his future reincarnation. Soon, people from all over Tibet came to seek blessings from Kangso Rinpoche, and whenever he gave teachings, practitioners could see the young Lama surrounded by a rainbow-colored aura. A highly accomplished Lama explained, "This is the manifestation of Guru Rinpoche's supreme wisdom. Only a truly enlightened being can possess such a merit field." Despite these achievements, Kangso Rinpoche remains humble. As time passes, his prophetic abilities continue to grow more accurate. In 2023, before the snowstorm in the nearby region, he suddenly said during a Dharma assembly, "The grasslands nearby will face great disaster. The herders must be warned to move their livestock immediately." That night, the monks spread the warning, saving thousands of animals. Several months later, he predicted, "In April, there will be extreme fluctuations in the global food market. Countries must prepare in advance." Sure enough, 2 months later, this prophecy came true. One morning, as the first rays of sunlight poured into the Yokhang temple, Kangso Rinpoche was reciting his prayers. His master, Lojung Rinpoche, noticed that he had stopped, and his gaze had deepened, as if he fell into a trance. As a seasoned master, he knew that when his disciple experienced such a state, it often meant he was receiving important information. Kangso Rinpoche began to speak. "In meditation, I saw 5 lotus flowers that represent the major changes coming in the world by 2025. The first lotus foretells a global financial transformation that will not just be a market fluctuation, but a complete restructuring of the financial system." He continued, his voice trembling. "The second lotus reveals a discovery beneath the Antarctic ice that will challenge our understanding of history. It will shift our perceptions in a profound way." He paused and looked out the window at the golden roof of the Yokhang temple gleaming in the sun. His voice grew stern. "The third lotus shows a transformation in the East, where a new civilization model will emerge. This will redefine how human society functions. It will not just be a regional rise, but a new path for humanity." Lojung Rinpoche asked, "What makes this shift so special?" Kangso Rinpoche replied, "As the Prajnaparamita Sutra says, all phenomena are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows. This change is not merely superficial. It will be a fundamental shift in the form of civilization. The East will find a path that transcends current models, blending wisdom and technology, tradition and modernity, material and spiritual." He paused, then added, The fourth lotus reflects the great change in the northern snow countries, where an ongoing confrontation will unexpectedly find resolution. He then said, with conviction, "Lastly, the fifth lotus shows a breakthrough in human consciousness. Technology will intersect with spirituality, just as predicted by Guru Rinpoche in the Great Perfection teachings. When the fog of the Dark Age is at its thickest, human awareness will break through its limits." Kangso Rinpoche predicted that these 5 great changes would unfold in a specific order, each corresponding to a season in the Tibetan calendar, marking significant shifts in the world. While these predictions may be astonishing, Kangso Rinpoche emphasized, change itself won't cause turmoil. What matters is how we face it. If we approach it with wisdom and compassion, it will bring purification and elevation. While this story may seem incredibly bizarre to some, it's important to keep in mind that it's documented in a book written by other Tibetan lamas who have devoted their lives to recording stories like this, just as the Gospel or the Quran are written by those who weren't always first-hand witnesses, and sometimes include stories of people falling into trances to receive visions. The writings surrounding Kangso Rinpoche's prophecy may have similar nuances or interpretations. It's not entirely beyond the realm of belief, considering the spiritual traditions that exist in many religious texts around the world. That being said, let's not get too caught up in the details of the delivery. Instead, let's focus on the prophecies themselves and see if they unfold as predicted. The truth behind these visions could soon be revealed. Only time will tell whether Kangso Rinpoche's predictions come to fruition. But as with all prophecies, they leave us with much to ponder.